Hey guys, this is the Starlight Strategist bringing you my first Kaijudo video. Now today I'm bringing you a budget Firelight Rush build, and I say budget because there are no rares in this build, so it should be fairly easy for players to get a hold of these cards. Now for newer players, it's pretty nice because Rush is a fairly straightforward strategy, but at the same time takes great advantage of slow setups and bad hands, and it's all around fun to play. Kind of gives you a good feel for some of the combos and synergies in this game, and so let's get right into it. First, we start off with our 1-drops. We have Blaze Belcher, who has to attack every turn if able with Hungry. While that's its main drawback, it can't start breaking shields as early as turn 2, and for 1 mana, that is an absolute bargain. You want to start chipping away as fast as possible and overwhelm your opponent. Makes for great mana mid-late game, but you can also drop them to try to bait shields or just for field presence overall. Jet Flame Bodyguard is a 3000 skirmisher. This means he can only attack creatures, but he is a Drakon, that is his main draw, and being a 3000 he can crash into some of the low mid-tier shields in the game, and that's kind of nice. And you can start evoing turn 3, and with this in play, you could drop this and play an Evo in turn 4, which is kind of nice because it adds as a fast attack. So we'll get into that in a little bit, but let's keep going. Magris the Magnetizer is the weakest card in the game. Being 500, everything is going to break it and not crash, but at the same time, you can start breaking shields as early as turn 2, which is the main point. You want these 1-drops to start overwhelming your opponent. They make for great mana, and at the same time, it does not have the disadvantage that it has to attack every turn, so you can kind of use it to bait your opponent, hold it off, and it's great Evo bait. Let's keep going. We have 2 Chasm Entanglers, and so normally blockers aren't incorporated in Rush builds, but being a 1-drop blocker, it makes for great Evo bait, and for 2000 you can crash into some of the smaller creatures in this game, and at the same time it helps keep your Drakons alive so they can stay alive long enough to Evo or to set up for that final push in the game, and that's very important. So for a 1-drop to keep these alive, that's kind of a bargain to me. We have 3 Bronco the Treacherous. It's a 2-drop 2000 Drakon. That's good enough for me in this deck, but at the same time it has great strategy with Burnclaw the Relentless, but we'll get into that in just a little bit. We have 3 Cliff Cutter. While you have an Evo in play, he has 3000 power, which helps keep him alive, helps crash him into some of the bigger things, and overall it's a Drakon, so why not? Let's keep going. We have 2 Drakon Weaponsmith. He has powerful attack plus 2000, so he has 3000 while attacking, and it is a Drakon, so that's his main draw in this build. I chose the 3 Cliff Cutter over Drakon Weaponsmith because the Cliff Cutter is more survivable while you have an Evo, and most of the time you will have an Evo in play, so that was my card choice there, but you can go with preference. Let's start off with our 3-drops. Sorry about the lighting, but we have our Jet Thrust Darter, which is a 3-drop 1000 fast attack. While 1000 isn't impressive at 3 mana, the fast attack is. The fast attack means you can be attacking with up to 3 creatures as early as turn 3. And the fast attack also helps you with your final push in the game, or maybe just breaking that final shield after you've broken through their blockers and your field is empty. While that might be situational, it's still nice to have that situation available, and makes a great early mana and just field presence in total. And it's a great pressure card. Next we have our 1 Blastforge Slaver. Some people like to run more of these, but I find he kind of slows the deck down quite a bit. He's 1000, again sorry for the lighting. Each of your other Drakons gets plus 2000 power. This helps keep them alive, makes them much more survivable, and makes them so you can crash into higher powered creatures. So overall, a nice tech card. Alright, this is the guts of the deck. This is the main draw of your Drakons. This is the Laser Arm Drakon, which is a double breaker. So as early as turn 3, you can be breaking 2 shields with 1 creature. He has 4000 power and powerful attack 2000, so he is a 6000 while attacking, which helps overcome quite a few shields in this game. And again, the turn 3 double breaker is great. The turn you evolve, you can attack, so it's like having a fast attack. So this means turn 4 you can drop a Jet Flame Bodyguard, Laser Arm over it, so you can start breaking that way too if you have a little slower of a setup, or if you play any of your other 3-drops, like Burnclaw the Relentless. Burnclaw the Relentless is a great card, has a lot of card advantage. It is an evolution, it has 5,000 power, it does not have the double breaker, but it has the deadly duo, so when this creature comes into battle, you may search your deck for a creature named Bronca the Treacherous, remember that guy back there? And he is played onto the field instantly. So you're playing 2 cards for the cost of 3. You are searching your deck, thinning it a little bit, which is very important because you want to get to your other cards faster. And this generates field advantage very quickly and more evo bait for your laser arm or more burn claw as the game goes on. So this is an excellent turn 3 play, or I would even consider turn, or even just mid-late game just to build up your field again. Great card overall. We have our 1-tech Star Lantern. Now it is a 3k blocker skirmisher, and being a blocker is just kind of nice. 3,000's okay, helps it crash into things and take out some things. But at the same time, the Photon Sting is the main draw. Whenever this creature blocks, tap 2 target enemy creatures. So this means you're blocking 2 for 1 and setting up for rushes. So if you block one of their creatures, you could tap 2 of their when you block one of their creatures, you can tap one of their blockers and it helps set up for that big push, final play, etc. This helps a lot against rival rush builds, as 3k won't be broken too easily, and kind of staves off some of their rushing aspect. So it's kind of nice, good tech. Overall, I like it. Alright, starting with our 4-drops, we have Canyon Skimmer. Canyon Skimmer is one of my favorite 4-drops in the game. This is a blocker skirmisher, which means it can only attack creatures, etc. Being 3,000, it's an okay blocker, helps it crash into a couple things, but its main draw is Lock On. Whenever this creature enters the battlefield, tap target enemy creature. This will help get around those blockers, break those shields, keep putting on the pressure, and being a blocker will help keep your Drakons alive and your Evos so that you can prepare for that final push, and that's very important. The reason I didn't choose Blinder Beetle over Canyon Skimmer is because Blinder Beetle is a 3-drop 1k beater. Now, being a 3-drop, you can play it a turn earlier, but on turn 3 I would much rather be playing my Evos, or Jet Thrust Darter, etc. So I would, my turn 3 is usually pretty busy as it is, so being the turn 4 doesn't really put it off too bad, and it's more of after you're all set up with your creatures, you play this down so you can make that push. So overall, I really like it, and being a blocker, I think it has much more utility and survivability than the Blinder Beetle overall. Alright, so next up is our 1 Enforcer Evo. This is Halon, Paragon of Light. He is an 8,000 double breaker. Let me see if I can get the lighting right on that. This means on turn, if you have 5 mana, you can evolve any of your Magris, Chasm Entanglers, or Canyon Skimmers to become an 8,000 beater. This helps break through many of their shields, crash into much larger creatures, or even just overtake creatures in total. It is a double breaker, so it helps break those shields for game. And overall, on turn 6, you could even drop this down and start fast attacking with it. So very nice. Makes for good mana if you're in the early stages of the game, if need be. But having that 8,000 is just kind of a nice in this deck, helps you overtake those bronze arms as well, if you're, depending on what your meta looks like or what people are playing in your area. Next up, we have our 1-tech Covering Fire. The reason I chose a 1 of is just because it is choose target enemy, choose one of your creatures, it can't be blocked this turn. For a 1-drop, it's kind of a bargain, could help win you the game, kind of situational in that respect, but it's very nice for dropping on your laser arms to break 2 shields, really put that pressure on your opponent who may have a full field set up or blockers all set to overtake your creatures. 2 Heat Seekers. The reason I'm not playing 2 Heat Seekers is 1 Comet Missile, so a lot of people are playing a lot more of these. It depends on your play style. The reason I only chose the 3 in total of my fire spells, now banish target creature that has 3,000 or less, and banish target enemy blocker. Banish target enemy blocker is very useful but since I have so many tap effects in this deck, it didn't seem too worthwhile. Also, they seem to clog your hand, especially early game, and I wanted to put the pressure on with my field, so I only chose to play very low spells. But Banish 3,000 or less, Banish Blocker, this helps you get through those chump blockers, and will help you take field presence very early. And lastly is our 5-drop. Besides the Halon, of course, but the 5-drop is my Helios Rings. Tap up to 2 target enemy creatures. This is a shield blast, so this can go off from your shields, which is kind of nice. But the reason I chose Helios Ring over Stormspark Blast is because I can play a turn earlier, and generally, whenever I was testing with Stormspark Blast, I only needed to tap one thing to kind of take that final play. So, being a 5-drop, I can play that turn earlier. I'm not pressured to drop creatures for mana as much as I would setting up for the Stormspark, and it's still a shield blast, so I can play from shields. So I just think it's a much easier card to play overall, and I kind of like it so far. So guys, overall that was my build. I'm still tinkering with it, toying with it. I might put up some rush strategies later on, but let me know what you think in the comments. Comment, like, subscribe, all that good stuff, and if you have any questions, any suggestions, or you want to know any other budget builds, maybe, etc., just let me know. So, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you next time.